We do several things here at the Edwards to sort of maximize our time with students.
Okay, who's next in this group? Lamar, you're next. You have time, Lamar?
Yeah.
Okay.
We really try to individualize the learning experience for kids, and we do that several ways. Every student is involved in 4 core academic classes during the beginning part of the day: math, English language arts, social studies, and then science. In addition to these 4 core academic classes, what we've done is set kids up for additional classes to support their specific areas of weakness. So we have, in the beginning part of the afternoon, what we call an academic league. And students are placed into academic league based on needs. We analyze data as far as our state exam, MCAS test scores, and also formative assessments throughout the year, and see if kids would benefit more from having an additional English language arts class or an additional mathematics class. That class goes on for about an hour, Monday through Thursday. And then after that time, we have electives for kids. Academic leagues are different in many ways from our core academic classes.
Academic League is an opportunity to give students extra time and more targeted instruction. Okay, I want you to read this one syllable at a time.
Neglected.
Good, can you put it together?
Neglected.
Excellent. I really have an opportunity to do intervention and to target a particular group of students who need a certain kind of focused intervention.
All right, so now we've looked at how to use the formulas for the surface area. So now let's think about what is surface area really? Pretty much my kids are all grouped at the same ability level in my academic league classes. For example, this year, all of my kids are pretty much at the warning level. I'm able to cater to those kids based on which level they are at, which during the regular school day, they're not grouped according to ability at all. It's pretty much just a wide spread of kids.
Within our English Language Arts Academic League, we take that hour, Monday through Thursday, to reinforce what's going on within the core academic English Language Arts class. Okay, so that's drilling down deeper into some specific standards or strands with students, or it could be sort of modifying and pushing kids depending on where they're at.
So what is the perimeter of the basin? How do I find perimeter?
The math platform is quite a bit different. What we do for the Math Academic League is actually sort of supplement the core curriculum that happens during the traditional public school day. That would be material that they hadn't necessarily seen before on a regular basis.
In addition to our academic league support that we give to all students in our expanded learning time program, we also provide elective classes that are providing specific supports for students as well. So it's additional support that we have identified for students. So for instance, they could be placed in a class that's going to help them specifically with their reading skills. We subscribe to curriculum such as Read 180 or Wilson Reading, so very strategic programs that are going to help a child's fundamental skills in reading. Similarly, in math, we will hire our math teachers to teach an elective that could support students specifically in their area of math.
Teachers are also informally analyzing formative assessment data and MCAS data on a regular basis to see if students need additional supports. The reading phonics class that we're now offering to students, along with the additional English as a second language class, are specific interventions we've set up and are holding during our elective time. So students now take that class as one of their electives, 2 days out of the 4 that we run electives to gain that additional support. So what we say is, hey, I know we're taking away football 2 days a week, but you could really, really benefit from having this additional time to work on getting those skills in English class.
When we look at student data, we can determine the support that a student needs based on how they've performed in regards to a certain content area and then more specifically within a standard. Then we will group students accordingly based on their performances within the standards. And using some of the students here to also help kind of bump Carlos up as well.
We have started to use these data boards over the last maybe 3 or 4 years here at the Edwards Middle School. And the way that I like to think about them is sort of just a tangible springboard to engage in conversations with teachers and sometimes with parents around where students are academically and what additional academic interventions they may need to be successful. So what we've done here is we have 2 data boards set up in my office, one for English language arts, the other for math. It's a great visual because what it does is it breaks up where the students lie as far as their MCAS scoring goes. So there's a section for needs improvement, there's a section for warning, there's a section for proficiency, and then advanced. We set up an extra phonics class for students that needed sort of hardcore intervention around reading, and we set up an English as a second language course for kids that were really struggling with English proficiency. Those decisions came out of teachers poring over these formative assessments, poring over MCAS data and grades, and then coming to administrators and working out how to make that new class during elective time possible.
Today on our agenda, we're going to be talking about
It's really important to meet as a team to figure out which student we should put where, because in a lot of cases, some of the students need ELA support and they also need math support.
So if we look at the homeroom list that we have in front of us, I've printed out the 2 classes that contain students with IEPs.
Typically in an academic league meeting, the teachers sit down, we take out all the data we have, which can be anything from an ANET test to MCAS results from the previous year to recent test scores, and we take all that data, we look at it, we analyze it, and we see what student would fit best where, in what class, based on their needs, based on their scores, based on behavior, and we figure out how we can best support them.
If everybody could just look at their list and check off 3 or 4 students you think you would recommend for additional support. Why don't social studies and ELA, we'll focus on an ELA academic league, and maybe science and math, you guys can focus on students you would put into a math academic league.
I'm curious about Eric and where he fits in all this because his name hasn't come up at all.
Eric needs some serious ELA support.
I would agree.
He needs some serious math support as well.
Eric, he struggles with writing a complete sentence. He struggles with understanding almost anything that he reads. He needs to read it a few times just to understand it. So I think, Steve, he does need math a lot, but I think, again, it could be similar to Ivan in that the literacy is what's holding him back in the math, in addition to disabilities with math as well. But I think we need to nail that literacy first.
Right. But the difference between Eric and Ivan is that Eric's struggling in almost every single part of every one of the strands. He's scoring at a 15% clip, which is pretty alarming.
It's really important for the math teacher to be there so that this math teacher can tell me, Miss Bryan, this student is struggling in ELA, yes, and would benefit from an ELA academic league or an ELA acceleration academy, yes, but more so the student needs math. And if the math teacher wasn't there to tell me that information and for me to have that dialogue with that math teacher, the student might be placed somewhere where maybe it wouldn't have been the best fit.
Without having expanded learning time, reaching the individual needs of these students would be very, very difficult. So we would have to maybe pull a kid out of their specialty, they maybe not have physical education 2 times a week, or we'd have to pull students out of their core academic classes to engage in, say, a phonics class or an English as a second language class as well. So having that additional time allows us to do the core academic time, have the kids have their specialty and sort of that release that they need, and then in addition get that academic support that they so need as well.
I think what makes our school unique is that we have very individualized schedules for pretty much every single one of our students. All students get equal access to their core amount of instructional time in every single content area. But if you're a child that struggles in math, you also will have the opportunity to get a math academically class where we're going to specifically help you with exactly what you need to help perform better in math. And then we're going to take you into an elective where 2 days a week we might have you in a math-based homework support class. And then the other 2 days of the week, we also pride ourselves on our performing arts program, our athletics program, and so through our expanded learning time program, the child will also have opportunities to get access to enrichment-based activities as well.
It's a lot of work for teachers, it's a lot of work for students. But the bottom line is that it's worth it. Because this work equals success. Our school motto is that effort is the key to success. And that effort comes from both the students and from the teachers. And if we expect the kids to put forth that much work, we got to expect that kind of work from ourselves. And it really pays off. Our MCAS scores last year skyrocketed. And that's due to the incredible amount of work that both the students and the teachers and the administration put in. A lot of people think of equity in education as every kid having the same amount of time. And so then, therefore, it's equal, that these kids are going to have the same amount of time, so they have the same amount of opportunities, and it's all going to be fair. But in reality, a lot of kids need more time to get to those same benchmarks as everybody else. And so in providing equitable education, we have to give them that time. We have to give them what they need in order to succeed.